All right, team, welcome to the next fitness show. This is Alexis Craig, and today is Friday. It is May 29th, and we are here with an exciting show for you today. So, here's the plan. We have an awesome guest. His name's Eric. I'll bring him out in just a second. And from there, we're going to talk about, we have a stretch break halfway through. We have a move of the week. I have some announcements from the next fitness thing. And before we really get started, I invite for you to push all the buttons. So if you're here live, please push the thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already. And if you're here live, definitely go into the live chat right now and say hey in the live chat, because it's the only way I know if you're here. Otherwise, you're just a number on the screen. All right, so here we go. We have an amazing guest today, so check it out. I am going to remove the pin. I'm going to bring him in, and this is Eric with Frequency Tuning, Elevated Audio Works. All right, Eric, come on in. And hey, thank you for joining today. I'm so excited to have you here. All right, I'm going to read your little bio before you really start talking. So, Eric Alexander's a biohacker. He is an audio innovator and he's an entrepreneur. He's focused on the intersection of frequencies, technology, and human performance. As the founder of Elevate AudioWorks and the creator of Frequency Tuning, Eric develops binaural and isochronic audio designed to support focus, sleep, relaxation, meditation, and consciousness exploration. Cool. With a background spanning esports leadership, patented technology development, and wellness-focused audio innovation, he blends neuroscience concepts, sound design, and curiosity-driven experimentation to explore how frequencies and intentional living can elevate the human experience. When he's not building technology, Eric mentors students, creates immersive audio experiences, and explores the frontier of performance optimization and consciousness. Woo! Okay, there's a lot of words in there. That's
That was a lot.
amazing.
Nice
It's a
work.
lot.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks for being here.
Yeah.
First,
Thank you
my
for
first
having me on.
question, can you tell us a little bit about what all of this is? Pretend you're talking to a kindergartner and actually explain what all of these things mean.
Yeah, totally. In fact, I'll start off and thank you, Alexis, for having me on. I've been
Oh,
looking
my
forward
pleasure.
to this. Uh, it's it's a very frequencies are already niche, and then combining frequencies with fitness, that's sort of on the next level. Uh, we have so many people that rely on caffeine and other workout supplements, but you can actually achieve a lot of the same effects as you noticed, and I do when I work out with frequencies. And what I mean by that specifically, we use binaural and isochronic entrainment to uh, entrain your brain waves to different states. So, in terms of fitness, that would most commonly be alpha and beta states. Alpha for more relaxed, sort of like an endurance jog, which you can actually check out if on my YouTube and the app that we have. But then beta, which is more high energies, like strength training. And I just put out a few more tracks this morning, uh, sort of in that ballpark.
Okay,
Um,
that's amazing. Let's break this down just a little bit
oh,
more. So you're talking binaural and isochronic frequencies. Can you tell us what that is? What's a binaural frequency?
so binaural is at a basic level, you play one frequency in one ear, another frequency in the other ear. The difference between the two frequencies are what your brain waves become entrained to. That is what's commonly referred to as a binaural beat.
Right.
Uh,
My understanding of it is it's kind of like if for those of you who've never heard of this before, my understanding of it, it's kind of like in the water, if you were to have a ripple in the water over here and a ripple in the water over here, then when the two ripples meet each other, they create a third wave. And basically you're doing that, but instead of with water waves, you're using sound waves, basically.
that's a
And
really, yeah, that's cool.
your brain also has waves, right? So there are different states in your brain. Can you speak to that piece a little bit of what the
Yeah,
states are in your brain?
definitely. And I love the water piece. That is, I've never heard that before. That's
Oh,
really, really
nice.
cool. So yeah, the basic states delta 0.5 hertz to 3 hertz. That's dreamless sleep. So that's beyond your REM stage. So if you need help sleeping, you don't want to rely on melatonin anymore, such as myself, you could
Mm-hmm.
listen to a delta track. Theta, that's 4 to 7 or 4 to 8 in some cases. I do 7.83 hertz is very common. That's the
Mm-hmm.
fundamental Schumann resonance.
Mm-hmm.
But theta is it's very dreamlike. It's the REM state. Those are the brain waves you're exhibiting then. It's really cool to induce that when you're awake. You can experience that's the consciousness aspect that I talk about, where you can experience things like lucid states, astral projection, a lot of out of body experiences. And then as we're moving up into alpha, 8 to 12 hertz, it's more of a calm focus, flow state, if you've heard that term before. It's when you can sit and you can just, well, not sit, but whenever you're able to just focus on what you're doing and everything kind of flows, your brain is most likely in an alpha state. Next is beta. That's when you're trying to really just focus, 13 to 30 hertz. That will be the majority of the workout tracks, other than like a long distance jog, which would probably I figure that's more alpha because you need to be sort of level headed and just let it flow. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
but like strength training, I just made a 15 hertz track. It should be stimulating, but not overly stimulating. And then gamma, which is 38 to 100 hertz. That is creative thinking, cognitive breakthroughs, very, very high energy. Probably not for working out, unless there is a track I made in the past where there's gamma spurts. So, like if you want to sprint,
Cool.
sure, gamma would probably help with that.
Okay, I love this idea. So basically, what I'm hearing and is that there are different brainwave frequencies that correspond to different states of your brain, and that these audio frequencies also correspond to the brainwave frequencies. So you are creating a brain, you are basically externally altering what the brain waves are to make it so that your brain is in a specific state. Is that
Correct.
accurate?
That's
Okay.
accurate.
Yeah, and why do we need to do that through having two different sounds in the two different ears instead of just playing the same frequency in both?
So you can isochronic. That's the same frequency in both. It's
Oh,
a
okay.
different layering effect where you can actually hear the pulse, and you don't need headphones for that.
I see.
But for the binaural entrainment to work, yeah, you need two headphones because that's your brain is calculating the difference between the two frequencies. And then you'll
I see.
actually, it's cool. What I like doing is I'll take one headphone off and then the other one, and then go like that, so I can actually hear the difference between the two frequencies better. And the entrainment happens a lot quicker that way.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah,
So binaural beats is basically this what we're talking about is inducing certain states with two different sounds in each ear. And then is that the full extent of what isochronic means, or is there something else to it?
Isochronic is pulsing. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff you can do. If you wanted to get into brain hemisphere synchronization, it's where you increase the coherence between the hemispheres of your brain.
Hmm.
That also happens with flow state. So, sort of getting the left and the right brain thinking together.
Okay.
Um, there's tracks that do that. The majority of the tracks I make, they do that anyways, just through various channel switching methods that I do. But there's more. There's a few tracks where I use panning isochronic audio, where you can actually you follow the tone in your mind as it goes left to right and back, and it's similar to EMDR if you're familiar with that.
Okay.
Um,
Yep.
so EM,
What's
um,
EMDR in case somebody's not familiar?
and I can't remember the abbreviation, but
That's okay.
it's how people sort of reprogram their brains when dealing with trauma,
Yep.
and a lot of it is you can tap and then you focus on the left or right, or you can have a clicker, or you can have someone else tapping on your shoulders as you process these events, these traumatic events that happen. And it does something in the brain to unlock that memory and sort of recategorize it.
Hmm.
It's kind of like viewing our brain as a computer. And this is
Hmm.
the being a programmer and getting into there and reprogramming the brain a little bit.
Yeah, I have had a little bit of experience with that in therapy before doing EMDR. I just looked it up. Eye movement
It's
desensitization and reprocessing is what it stands
yes,
for.
the R
Okay.
is what I always forget.
Okay, so happening in the chat right now, Megan says hello, Aaron says hello. Then we have Thunder, sorry.
Hey, Thunder. It's from my Discord.
Thunder, yeah, totally, is in here saying hey. Kelly's in here saying hi, and Donna D also says hello. All right, awesome. We got some folks
Very
in here
cool.
listening live. Yay. Okay, so how did you get into this in the first place?
Oh, I'd love to talk about that. So I was in college, 8, 9, 2014. I was in college. That's
Okay.
every year, I guess it gets farther and farther. It's no longer 8 or 9 years. So I guess I've been doing this longer than I realize. Um, I have ADHD and it's very severe at times. So I'm always looking for new ways to sort of control it, counteract it, and mitigate and manage. Um, I got sick of being on stimulants, sick of caffeine. So that's when I discovered binaural and isochronic audio. Oddly enough, the track that I first listened to that showed me that there's something to this was called Morning Coffee.
Oh,
So,
interesting. That's funny.
yeah, yeah, and it was super energizing, but I didn't know what I was listening to. That's all the information I got was that it was called Morning Coffee. So I was
And
like,
what did you use it for?
waking up in the morning. I
Okay,
mean,
okay,
I think they were marketing it as an alternative to coffee in the morning.
okay.
And
Where did you find it? It was like on YouTube or somewhere else or
no, it was an app I was using. I
okay,
can't even remember. I did discover some on YouTube, and then I found, I don't remember if YouTube or I think it was an app actually, with a selection of frequencies. But from there, from there, I dove into what am I listening to? What is
mm,
this? Because I wanted to know. I wasn't going to trust some random person saying, I'm listening to morning coffee, whatever that is. That's when I discovered alpha and beta frequencies. Um, and
and what was morning coffee? Which frequency was that?
I don't remember. Is all I know is it was heavy isochronic, probably in the higher beta, so probably right around 30 hertz. It
Okay.
woke me up. It was very
Mm-hmm.
effective.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, if I wanted to get more sleep in or like feel more rested without having to sleep more, I would listen to theta or delta tracks. Again, they were labeled something different in the various things I used. But that's what led to my discovery of delta and theta. Um, from there, from there I dove into frequencies and I realized that, I need to be kind of careful what I'm listening to because frequencies, everything is a frequency, but that also means, the good and the bad. So I wanted to teach myself how to make frequency tracks and
Okay.
be totally transparent with everybody about what they're listening to.
Mm.
Um, so that's what I did, and that's how I started creating my own and in the channel. I probably didn't. I think it was 2016 or 17 when I launched it. So I'd had maybe 3 years of listening to various things online before I started my own. Um,
And are
and
you an audio expert to know how to do that, or
I wouldn't call. I mean, I didn't go to. It's self-taught, I guess.
well, that's
Um,
okay with me, but I mean,
yeah,
it's audio seems so complicated to me. I mean, to be able to make your own binaural tracks to me is like, whoa, okay. It's
I think it would.
impressive.
I would appreciate that. I've toyed with the idea of getting an audio engineering degree just because I would probably learn stuff I'm not familiar with, and that would sort of amplify what I do even more.
Hmm.
Um, but like I have a method and a means that work, and the only tracks I listen to are my own. So
Right,
if
because
that's
you
a
know what's in it.
yeah,
It's like how when I cook food, I know what's in it, and so then I feel
ex-
much better about eating it because I'm very clear on what I'm eating, and it's kind of the same
exactly,
thing, but you're consuming it with your ears instead of with your mouth.
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. I had my exposure to this concept in binaural beats came definitely not through trying to wake up in the morning, but really coming from the opposite side of looking to fall asleep at night.
Yes,
And I have used a variety of YouTube sources mostly over time to, I was also really into self-hypnosis in the past, and I think that's probably where I first came across it was looking into self-hypnosis, and I was really looking to find resources to help me to reprogram myself into, being more positive, really, honestly, and to heal
I
trauma. And so I was looking at binaural beats, and I got really fascinated with lucid dreaming and with astral projection. And so then I went
awesome.
down this whole rabbit hole of using binaural beats, especially with theta, to be able to sit in meditation with theta waves going, and then intentionally have a meditation of an out of body experience. And so I have a whole practice around it
That's
now.
cool.
But I mean, I just used some YouTube track that I found, and I was so glad when I met you and I actually, met you. We talked about it. I checked out your channel, all of these things, because now I feel a little bit, it's like finding a better potato chip with cleaner ingredients. Like I know where it's coming
Thank you.
from, and
Right,
have a lot more trust that, you're actually not trying to brainwash me or something like
right.
that.
Yeah,
I mean,
that was
I,
yeah.
I don't know what is even possible in that way, honestly, but I just seeing how powerful that this audio frequency thing of altering brainwaves is really makes me curious about what kind of things, both beneficial and nefarious, would be possible using it.
Well, it's super cool. And I didn't realize that you were using theta waves in your meditation. That's amazing. Yeah.
Yep. And when I went to yoga teacher training in Bali, they also
Mhm.
were talking about it to use it in this way. And then we also were exposed to solfeggio frequencies
Yep.
as they relate to chakras. And so there was this whole, and I think we're probably over a lot of people's head right now, so we should probably help
I
define some of these
we might be
terms.
surprised. But yeah, let's
But
define them.
just saying, really learned that there are certain sound frequencies that are resonant with the human body and resonant with vitality of the human body,
Mhm.
and that certain chakras of your body, and we've talked about chakras on the show before, so different energy centers of your body have a frequency, especially because it involves rotation, so there's an actual period to that rotation that creates a frequency, so
Yep.
you can amplify the frequency of a certain chakra by playing a specific sound tone. So if you needed heart healing, you could listen to a specific frequency, and I don't have the memorized. I think that one might be 432. But that would be beneficial toward heart healing or something like that.
Exactly. You are spot on. I'm so happy you brought up solfeggio tones because that's what the carrier tones. I 95% of the time I use solfeggio tones as carrier tones, because of
And what
exactly what you're
can
talking
you
about.
just define that a little bit? What's the difference between solfeggio tones and, even what you're hearing coming out of a piano or a traditional musical instrument?
Yeah, so I'll go through the solfeggio tones with you here. They do have different effects. I always have to look it up, remembering what chakra they're connected to. But I'm glad you brought up chakras too, because you know the stretch that I gave you.
Yes.
I specifically did that because it help opens your chakras.
Nice.
At least for me, it does, and that's
We'll
it's
get to
super.
the mid-show stretch
Yeah,
break in
yeah,
just a
yeah,
little
yeah.
bit.
It's simple but good.
Hmm.
So base one that I use a lot is 174 hertz. It's very grounding. Uh, it helps with just it's grounding. You know, it's security. It brings you back to baseline, and it sounds nice because if I'm using too many high frequencies, it doesn't. You know, it's harder to listen to. 285 hertz renewal, and associated with just different cellular healing. Um, which, you know, that might be a little pseudosciency, but there's other connections. You can look it up. Next is 396 hertz, which is a release of fear, liberation from fear and guilt, sort of it bleeding up actually into the next one, which is 417 hertz, which is energetic clearing. 432 hertz, yes, that is in there. It's some people recognize it as solfeggio, some don't. I
Oh,
use it a
interesting.
I use it a lot. Um, But yeah, 417 hertz is good too. 432 is interesting because I think that what is music? What is the music tone? Is that 440 hertz right now, or what? Or I know it
I'm
was
not sure.
changed,
I'm
but
not an expert in that, but I am really
that's a whole
fascinated with it.
that's
Uh-huh.
a whole nother can of worms we don't need to get into. But then 528 hertz, which people commonly call the miracle tone.
Oh,
Uh,
what's the number again?
528 hertz.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Um,
So if you need a miracle, play
If you
that.
need a miracle, yeah, it helps with DNA repair, supposedly. Again, a lot of pseudoscience here, but I like pseudoscience.
Hmm.
Um,
Sometimes pseudoscience ends up becoming science.
that's typically what happens. So
That's been
that's
my experience. Yeah.
yeah, right.
I mean, not all
Um,
of it, but the good
yeah,
pseudoscience.
right. So then it leads up into 639 hertz, which is all about balance,
Mm.
strengthening relationships, and just generally creating harmony.
Wow.
um, you know, which is leads up into the higher the frequency, the more sort of spiritual you get here. 741 hertz helps with intuition, sort of awakening, or intuition awakening, um, pineal gland stuff.
Hmm.
And then 852 hertz, which is more of a spiritual awakening.
Hmm.
So you
That's
got
a
your
crown chakra.
Yep,
Hmm.
crown. So you got your pineal open, goes up to the crown, and
Hmm.
then 963 hertz is consciousness awakening, or oneness.
Hmm.
Um,
That's gonna be like cosmic consciousness or something like that.
yes,
Hmm.
exactly. So what's above your crown chakra again, or is there?
I mean, I would call it like the soul star chakra. And
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
hmm
But it's interesting that we start at grounding all the way up to, uh, cosmic consciousness, which I love that you brought that up.
wow. Okay, so just to ground this a little bit, what I heard
Yeah,
you say here is if you're calling in one of these states of being, like healing your relationships, that for you to play and experience this frequency, it would support the healing of your relationships, essentially.
correct in theory.
Hmm.
And
Yeah,
these tones are very, very old. I mean, they've been You can look all sorts of stuff. They've been used all throughout history, um, for all sorts of different stuff.
right. My experience of this, at least what we were taught in yoga teacher training, is that the traditional musical scale that we are all accustomed to
Mhm,
is based on the number two. So it's like breaking things in half and in half again and in half again, basically. And
mhm.
it's especially around the number eight. And that the solfeggio frequencies are about thirds, and it's about breaking things into three and then into three again. And that the breaking things into thirds is more aligned with life and with vitality rather than into two. That breaking things into two creates a duality of, which is kind of maybe, at least from a spiritual sense in my world, we are looking to avoid duality and going
Yeah.
into non-duality. It's kind of like good and bad war kind of
Yep.
thing,
Exactly.
where having this sacred third, having this through it allows for sort of seeing things from different perspectives. So that's
Exactly.
that's my relationship to it, at least.
That's a very good metaphor. In fact, that's you can see all throughout history too. Threes. All sorts of good stuff comes in threes.
Right.
Um,
And I
so
love to think that maybe the times when I thought of myself as not a very good singer, it may just be that I wasn't attuned with the traditional, m- um, the traditional musical scale, and maybe I was singing perfectly in solfeggio the whole time.
yeah.
That's my ego talking.
No, I mean I love that you brought that up. That's me ego tagging. It's like the opposite of cosmic consciousness there. So,
Okay, so how does this relate to health? I mean, that's kind of what we're here to talk about more. Is it can be about fitness. That's really what this name of the show is, but how do these using these frequencies work with health?
well, that's the whole mind body soul or mind body spirit connection. If you're meditating, theta will help with that. It'll amplify your meditation as you have experienced.
Yeah,
If you need better sleep, I've been able to get off melatonin with my delta frequencies.
that's awesome. That's amazing,
Yeah.
actually.
Oh, right. Right. It's been wonderful being able to sleep. And I still take melatonin sometimes, but
Do you wear the headphones all night or only to fall asleep?
I mean, yeah, they fall out though at some point. So I wake
Right.
up in the morning, I gotta find my AirPods somewhere, but um
I always try to go to sleep, not always. I try to go to sleep sometimes with the earphones in for this exact reason, especially to do astral travel. But
yes.
then it hurts so much if you wake up and you've been leaning on one of
Yep.
them. Ugh.
Yep.
Somebody
I
needs to invent, like, I'm sure it exists. It probably exists. Sleeping earphones probably
I
exists.
I would love to have you on my podcast next to talk about your astral experiences.
Okay, that'd be awesome.
That would be very cool. I
Thank
didn't
you. That'd be
realize.
amazing.
Yeah.
I know that a lot of our teammates, that's what we call like the people who take our classes and stuff, they really
Mhm.
like bone conduction earphones,
Mhm.
especially because we're doing a lot of these workouts outside and, they would like to be able to hear the traffic and then also be able to hear what's going on in the earphones at the same time. Would
Mhm.
this concept work with bone conduction earphones too?
I've never tried them, but people that have left comments, on my various videos, they have tried them. Supposedly, it does work. Um, I can't speak from personal experience, though, but they say it works.
I mean, it seems like, at least to me conceptually, it seems like it would work, but I'm not
Yeah,
an expert in this at all.
yeah.
Okay. And what about for exercise? Tell me about I had a so just so you
Mhm.
guys know, I had a personal experience of this. Eric has sent me when we talked about, oh, would you like to be on the show? He's like, yeah, here, you want to try this specific, what do you call it? Like a
Did I send you I think I
sound?
sent you the gamma yeah, different, binaural tracks. I think I sent you maybe a 13 hertz and a 40 hertz to try.
Yes, you sent me two. And I
Yep.
did a strength workout while I was listening to it. And I could definitely feel the difference. The first word that I had to describe the experience of it, honestly, and I was like, I don't know if I want to say this on here, but we were talking before we started. Eric kind of validated it. And I was like, honestly, anxiety. It kind of
Yep.
felt like anxiety, but it wasn't like in the negative thought spiral anxiety. It was more this feeling of, it's like feeling anxious to move. This
Yes.
feeling of kind of knowing that I don't want to be sitting still while I have this frequency going, which honestly was helpful. That's kind of the same thing that caffeine does. It gives you
Yeah.
anxiety that makes you kind of like, all right, let's do some stuff. Like,
Yeah, that's exactly what it does. In fact, it's funny because yeah, you were saying I could not be sitting down listening to this. And yes, I
no.
agree. I agree.
Yeah, so it was definitely helpful for getting moving. I could feel a little bit more. It was almost like it made me it's not exactly anger, but there's like a little bit of that same kind of feeling. If you've ever lifted weights when you're angry, have you guys ever had that experience? I've had that many times where I use it as a way to move energy when I have strong emotions going on. It kind of gave me that feeling where I was doing a shoulder and core day. So I was doing overhead pressing and that kind of thing. So I'm like sitting there and I could just feel this kind of like like like
Yeah.
that was basically what was happening. I wouldn't probably use it for Pilates, but it was
Yeah.
really great for lifting heavy.
You'd be too amped up for Pilates.
Yeah. Yeah.
That'd be that's funny.
But if
Um,
it was sprinting or something, it would be, I mean, for something like that, it would definitely work for me for that as well.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and that's you must have been listening to the Gamma one. And that is that one, yes, that will give you that'll make you want to move. It that's what it's supposed to do. The one I sent you at least. And even the 13 hertz, that'll make you wanna move too. Um, I did release a few more today. If anybody's curious, there's a 10 hertz. It's for jogging because, when you're endurance jogging, you don't need to be super amped up. Like you need to be even keel,
Right.
uh,
Pace yourself.
consistent. Yes, so that's 10 hertz. And then I did a 15 hertz for strength training, which is a little more than the 13 I sent you, just because we want more of that, what you're talking about, that raw, that, you know, getting up and um, energy.
Yeah.
So.
Right. Okay, so you could essentially use these types of tones to power a workout.
Mhm.
I love that. And if somebody was brand new and they're just listening to this right now being like, I've never heard of this before. Okay, interesting. I'm curious. Um, I know that we're going to tell them about your app and your YouTube channel is for sure, but where do they start? I mean, when I look at your YouTube channel, there's so much going on, and even in your app, you have a really wide library. What's a good starting place to have an experience that they could really feel?
Go to the playlist. You're right. There's a lot of stuff on the channel, and I probably need to get that cleaned up a little bit. I did make a new fitness playlist where I put down the best fitness tracks I have. But
Nice.
really, well, if you want to experience it and see how effective it is, I'd say start with Delta because that's what you're going to notice the most first. Unless you've been listening to this and you recognize that the anxiety is part of the binaural entrainment working, it's not going to be super pleasant.
Right.
Um,
Right.
so that yes,
Delta's the
so del
sleeping one?
correct. Otherwise, anything labeled relax,
Got it.
theta's fun. It's 7.83 hertz, the fundamental Schumann resonance. It's
Hmm.
very grounding. It's probably my favorite entrainment, just because it's at the higher end of theta, so you don't get into the weird, but it's not quite alpha, so you can kind of maintain some flow state. So it's very even keel.
Yeah, Theta's my favorite to play with always, of course.
Same here.
But
Same here. Oh
I
yeah.
mean, that's what I mean, I already told you that's what got me
Oh yeah.
interested in this in the first place was how can I get more theta in my life
Right.
basically.
Right.
Um okay, so if you and when how would they actually do this? They would put the earphones on and lay down. I mean, I would imagine don't put this on while you're driving your car or something. I mean,
I'm not gonna tell people to do that. I've tried that. It's cool. I don't know. I enjoy it.
what,
I
driving in your car with delta waves?
no, not no, absolutely not. Do not drive with
Okay.
delta waves. Do not do
Okay.
that. That is not what I was saying. Just
Okay.
don't put it on your car in general. Just don't do that. So for delta waves, laying down would be good. Otherwise, theta, meditating or laying down.
Hmm.
Um, and just listen and like I said, you can do that if you don't have AirPods, it doesn't work doing that, but
Okay.
headsets like this, then you can actually hear the different frequencies and it'll help your brain and train a little quicker.
And you
Um,
can just understand the concept of what's happening a little bit more,
yes.
probably.
Then focus
Yeah.
on your breath, like as with any meditation technique. Um, just always, when you find your thoughts slipping, or when you find your thoughts kind of running amok, if they do, just dial it back in. Realize every time you dial it back in, you get stronger. Um, and yeah, let the frequencies do the work. Um, Theta's fun. I guess I do have disclaimers on our theta tracks now, because but
Okay.
before I wanted the tracks to speak for themselves, so I didn't make a lot of exorbitant marketing claims.
Okay.
Um, and then when people asked what they did, I would say, look at the comments. Not exactly, theta people don't necessarily want to astral project if they don't know what astral projection is.
Yeah, I could see how it
Um,
could be scary or jarring if that wasn't what you were
yes,
expecting to happen.
scary and jarring is the right word, but really there's
Hmm.
nothing to be afraid of. Like it's a beautiful thing.
It's like basically
Um,
daydreaming, but it feels a little bit more, I don't know, to me, in my
yeah.
experience, it's like daydreaming, but I have a little bit more of a immersive experience in the daydream, more like like a sleep dream, but awake.
Yeah. Well, it's like REM sleep, but being awake.
Yeah.
Um, I had an experience a few nights ago where I was meditating with a theta track, and I started, and this happens a lot. Closed eye visuals. So you start seeing images flash in front of my face, and
Hmm.
that's the REM cycle in my mind, at least. That's the REM cycle coming to the conscious mind, because theta, that's the subconscious mind, alpha, conscious mind. Um, so I'm
Okay.
conscious, but trying to induce a subcon. It's like a bridging of subconscious and conscious, if that makes sense.
I see.
Yep.
I see. So in my experience, it's something. It's kind of like sober psychedelics or something
Yes,
like
that's a
that.
good way to put it.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have any, at least in my experience, there's no side effects or anything like
No.
that. Is there anybody who you would say it's not okay to try these
I
tracks?
mean, if you have a history of mental illness or get freaked out easily, or I guess
Right.
just generally people that, but I'd hate to say that, because even, meditation is great for mental illness. But
Hmm.
meditate without the theta tracks. Try, I'd say maybe try an 8 hertz or something. You don't need to be experiencing any more than you already are.
Right.
Um, so delta is fine, alpha fine, beta fine, gamma fine. But yeah, the theta does get a little spooky at times if you don't know what to expect. Like you said, sober psychedelics.
Right. Okay, I have one more. We are about to shift gears, but I want to ask about one
Mhm.
more thing because I know this about you a little bit. Okay, so the photo that we have of you
Yes.
is of you with your chin at the edge of something, and I know that you are definitely a biohacker in more ways than one. So, will you tell us a little bit about this other thing that you're really into?
That's cold plunging. And if you want to see what Alexis is talking about, my TikTok is elevated Eric, ERIK with a K. I go cold plunging. I cut a hole in the lake every winter. We maintain the hole, and I go and sit in there for 6 minutes in freezing water, 32, 33 degrees. And you talk about dopamine, endorphins, serotonin, all of that being
Sober
produced naturally.
psychedelics.
Sober, sober cocaine. I'm just kidding.
Uh-huh.
Terrible, not sober. That's a bad joke. No, it's like it's sober. I don't know, like it releases endorphins,
So the water
dopamine,
is
and
32 degrees or something. What's the air?
the air. The coldest I've done it at about -10 wind chill before. I don't go, I don't go below that.
So you're gonna get out and just freeze?
Um,
That's
when it's
hardcore.
when it's that cold, you have to put your clothes on right away. In fact, the issue is not so much being in the water; it's
Right.
when you get out, and
Uh-huh.
because hypothermia can set in. I've never had issues with it, but you want to get dressed right away.
Got it.
Um, Yeah, so
I
that's the
want to get in the
biggest
hot tub
thing.
right away. I don't,
Well, no,
that's what I want.
then you ruin the effects. So like
I
I
see.
do it because
Oh
it
my
you know
gosh.
it so the reason I do it mainly is it helps regulate my ADHD. It
Uh-huh.
helps me focus, which is, ADHD is a dysregulation of dopamine.
Okay.
So this is a way to do it semi-naturally. Uh,
I
and then
mean,
you
that's pretty natural, jumping in freezing
jumping in
water.
freezing water. Well, it's a way you also realize that you're a lot stronger than you realize,
Hmm.
mentally and bodily. Where I've never had any I've never had anything dangerous happen. Like it's
It
been
seems like
very
slipping on the ice might be the most dangerous part of the
literally,
whole thing.
literally,
Yeah.
literally. But then you have energy all day. At least I do.
You do it first thing in the morning or?
Whenever I have time, when I do it first thing in the morning, it's a little difficult. It takes a little bit more mind over matter to want to get up and do it at 7 a.m.
Oh my gosh.
I have done that though, and
So you
yeah,
don't take a hot shower after, you just get dressed and do your day.
yes, yes,
Wow,
yep,
that is hardcore.
yeah. I always end, even I do a sauna and cold plunge when I do the combo. I always end on the cold plunge because I found that's the best way to sort of maintain that reset nervous system.
Yeah,
Contrast
right, right.
therapy.
It's like I do that in the shower. I go hot and cold in the shower, and I really do my best to end on the cold because then
Yep,
I am in, especially if it's a morning shower, because then I'm like invigorated and really alert and
yep,
awake and alive and ready to go.
yep.
And maybe not the most enjoyable way to end the shower, but it is the most, it also makes my hair shinier. So I
Yeah,
like that
I do that
too.
with my hair. I don't like cold showers. That's harder for me than getting in the lake.
Whoa.
I don't know why.
Okay, so you just basically have been cold, and it seems like you have a whole club of people doing this with you.
Yeah, they're waddlers of Wayzata. We have waddlers like penguin.
Okay,
So it's people that we that like it. Some people just show up. Some people, most of them are my friends. And the thing is, once you try it, you realize the benefit of it, and you want to keep doing it. So we've got a Facebook group we started that um, we post in there, and I don't
and
know.
you
It's
all get in
just
at the same time, or you take turns, or
well, it depends how big the group is. Like I think the whole size we can fit like 5 people in the whole.
okay,
We've got a fence around it. We don't want any dogs walking in.
okay. Is it
Um,
shallow?
it's about up to here, but then
So, so you're
you
standing on the floor of the lake at the bottom?
yes,
Do
yeah, you
fish
don't.
like come and nibble you and stuff?
Oh, that's a big fear of mine, but no, no. I keep thinking I'm gonna look down and see a muskie one of those days, and I'm like, that's
Oh,
not what I want to see.
I haven't seen a muskie yet in Minnesota, but I'm a little bit scared too,
Oh yeah,
honestly.
they're here. They're in the lake too that we plunge in, and
Wow.
nothing to be afraid of though. Like there's never been any incidences like that.
And did you get into this from Wim Hof or something else, or like what made you start?
Sorry, you cut up there for a second. Can you repeat that,
Oh,
please?
what made you start doing that?
Another group that does it out of a different town, they sort of turned me on to it. I got sick of driving all the way over there, and so I started my own group, um, closer. I guess still a bit of a drive, but closer to where I am. Um,
Wow.
yeah. So and it's becoming very mainstream now. As there's
Yeah. You hear about
big
it on podcasts all the time, basically.
yeah.
My
Yep.
understanding is that there's a few of these women's health people talking about it
Mhm.
and saying that it has different effects on women's bodies than it does on men's bodies. And
I've
again,
heard.
I'm not an expert in this, but what I heard is that for men, having it be really, really, really cold, like freezing cold water, is maybe more beneficial, and for women, it's actually not as important that the water is completely freezing
Hmm.
for it to have the beneficial effects, because there's something about the way that the blood flow works in men versus women where um I'm probably not going to be able to say this right. I got it from Stacy Sims. It was basically about how I believe it was for one gender, all the blood comes out of your limbs and into the center of your body, and for the other gender, the experience is that the blood goes more into the extremities to make it so that you are not going to like lose a limb or something like that.
Wow. That is I've never heard that. That would be very fascinating.
Yeah,
Because yeah, and yeah, speaking from a male perspective is that's at least that's how I've that's why I wear gloves and a hat because the blood leaves your hands. Your hands get very cold.
right. It's like,
Um,
in case if you were freezing so that you're not going to die, basically.
mhm.
Right.
Yep.
So it makes it so that your major organs are all protected, where something about for women, it makes the blood be distributed more to your extremities to make it so that I'm not exactly sure. It was something about temperature regulation and maybe it has to do with reproductive system. I'm not sure.
Hmm. Well,
Something hormonal.
That's very interesting. I mean, I think it makes sense. I'd need to do some research on that. I've never thought about that.
I got it
Um,
from Stacy Sims in case you want to check it out.
yeah, well, we
Cool.
also don't have a lot of women in our group. So, so
Makes
that would,
sense.
yeah, there are women that do it though. They,
Oh yeah. I've been
uh,
like going for me, I like to near my house we have cold it's not as cold in the air even close to where you
mhm,
are. I mean, it gets down to 30 or something, and then that's about as cold as it gets. But the water is really cold. The water
mhm,
doesn't freeze, but I have, a big lake. Like Lake Tahoe is really deep. It's like almost 2,000 feet deep. So it just doesn't
mhm,
freeze because of how much water there is, and there's a thermocline, right?
mhm,
So I have in the spring been known to jump, especially off of the boat and into the water where the water is at least in the low 40s or high 30s or something. And for me, I'm just like this, like it's just like basically here's my chest is like the
yeah,
hardest part to get in the water. Legs are fine. I could go waist down in freezing water and I am fine. But then if you get up to here, oh,
yeah.
too much.
I like hitting. What's the nerve on the back of your neck called? Is it the parasympathetic nerve?
Okay.
There's some nerve that I like getting because it
Mm,
brings your cortisol, adrenaline level way down.
interesting.
Um,
Okay.
yeah, so
Cool.
that's the other. There's all sorts of benefits to it that I could get into. Everything from the conversion of, I think it's white fat into brown fat, or brown fat into white fat. One of them you burn to stay warm, the other you store for energy.
Mm,
So there's all sorts of benefits.
cool. Well, I love that you
Mhm.
do that. It's again impressive and also just what?
Yeah. Well, thank you, Alexis.
Yep. All right, so let's get to our stretch break. Here we go. It is stretch break time. All right, I asked Eric to pick the stretch, and the stretch that he picked, he sent me a message and said his stretch that he picked is called Sky Reach Stretch. And I was like, what? What's a Sky Reach stretch? So I looked it up, and I believe it's this. You reach up to the sky. Why'd you
Yeah.
pick this?
Well, it clears your chakras. It helps, my spine. I'm doing this all the time like that, just because it helps my spinal cord
Ah, right.
align.
Especially
And
if
then
you're sitting on your computer a lot.
yeah, and I'll hold this and twist, and it just helps everything.
So, can you guide us through the Skyreach stretch a little bit? Tell us what to do. And I encourage everybody to do it along with us right now.
Yeah, let's all do it. I guess I'll stand up for this too.
Okay, me too.
So start here, and it's simple as it's just literally lifting up, bending backwards a little bit, stretching out your spine. I like to hold my hands together and lean back. Um, but it's also sort of a power stretch too. It instead of being compact, it opens everything up. Like we said, the chakras. Um,
Nice. Love it. Opens the entire front side of your body. I would
yeah,
say, from the fitness perspective, it's opening up your hip flexors, it's opening up your entire anterior chain. So, if you sit down a lot, if you lean forward a lot, if you look down at your phone a lot, which we all do
yes,
really, then this is going to counteract that and help you to open everything up. And from a chakras perspective, it's going to open up and allow for all of your energy centers to be able to flow more freely, which is going to give you more energy and also allow for you to have more of a regulated experience integrated through your whole body. Nice. Love
Mhm.
it. I love that you picked that. I love how simple it is and that it's really something that I'll just say it like my Apple Watch always tells me stand up, right? And so that's the perfect thing to do when you get the ping to stand up is reach for the sky.
It's simple. You can do it anywhere.
Totally. Love it. All
Mhm.
right, so now we are going to talk about our move of the week. So our move of the week this week is also chosen by Eric and demonstrated by Medwin. So our move of the week this week, when I asked Eric what he wanted it to be, he said, well, something like chest and arms. So I picked this
Typical
one.
male workout at the gym, I feel
Totally.
like.
Typical. It's the exact answer that you would
Yeah.
expect for a male guest on the show to give. 100%, which is great, honestly. So, first of all, could you maybe just from the help us understand why do men love this so much, first of all? Like,
Probably because it's visible. It creates, it's more visible. You can't forget leg day, but you get other it's going to be an upside down triangle, and you gotta. Um, so I like it. It's visible. It's you can feel the gains. Um,
right. That makes sense. Okay.
so
And what do you is a chest press something that you would normally do in your workouts?
it depends on the day. I mean, I
Yeah, right.
that's what I did. I didn't do a chest press this morning, but yeah, yes.
Yeah. All right. So for the chest press that you're seeing in this video, I would just point out that Medwin's arching his back a lot. That is kind of a hack that especially competitive lifters do. They arch their back as they do the chest press. I don't want to say it's cheating, but I will say it is a bit of a regression to do that and rather than keeping a neutral spine because it's essentially creating a decline experience by arching your back a little bit. Um, it's it's okay if you want to arch your back during the chest press, but if you would prefer to keep a neutral spine, I often, when I'm doing a chest press, especially on the bench, I'll bring my feet up and I put my feet on the bench while I'm doing the chest press, which is a little harder on balance, but it helps me to keep a neutral spine a little bit more. So it's okay either way, basically. I will say that Medwin, when you see him doing this, you can see that his elbows are a little bit below the level of his shoulders, and his hands are something like 45 degrees. There's certainly all different ways to do chest presses, but I would suggest, especially if you're not super confident in your form in the chest press, to keep your elbows a little bit. When I say below, I'm talking closer to your hips. Like your elbows are not as elevated toward your head, a little bit more like 45 degrees down. So, and when I say down, I mean toward your hips. All right, Erin's in here saying it feels so good to do in the morning, to stand up and reach for the
Yeah.
sky. 100%, totally.
Yep.
And she also says all the males in my house love chest and upper body. I know it's such a thing.
Yep.
It's such a
I wish I
thing.
had a better answer for you, but I
No, I mean, it's not fair to ask you to speak for all men or anything like that, but I just am curious. Like, it makes sense. It's in the front and it's up where you can see it. And so it makes you feel like you're getting results because you can see and feel the results.
yes.
Plus, when you train chest, I will say you can progress as you get stronger and you can really see the weights changing if you're actually practicing on a regular basis. So you can really like feel like you're getting gains that way too.
Yeah. Plus, we're looking at ourselves in the mirror flexing, and
Right, right
it's hard
here.
to do that with legs. So
Yeah. Yeah, it is definitely harder. That's true. All right, so that is our move of the week. All right, it's time for a little bit of announcements from the next fitness thing. So we're gonna just go through these. For one, tomorrow is the Flower Power 5K. So if you are interested, first of all, a lot of you are already signed up for this and we're doing this. So make sure you get lots of sleep tonight and be well fueled. Maybe even try one of these Delta tracks to fall asleep so that you can have a nice restful sleep and then be ready tomorrow morning. Maybe start your day tomorrow morning with a little reaching for the sky before we get into the 5K. If you're not already signed up for this and you want to do a virtual 5K, then you can go to the nextfitnessthing.com/flowerpower5k. And this 5k, it's not a normal virtual 5k where you would just do it on your own and submit your results. I will be there with music playing, and we will guide you for 55 minutes to be able to do your 5k and cheer you on, coach you along the way. Plus, the chat is just going off the whole time of people cheering you on, shouting you out, and it feels like a really enthusiastic, supportive environment. So it feels like you're not doing the 5k all by yourself. So it's a fun way to do it. Okay. Also, this weekend, we have a big weekend right now. Also, this weekend is walking book club. So, if you have actually read the book is Reminders of Him by Colleen Hoover. The audiobook is 10 hours long. If you start right now, you will totally be able to finish it. Put it on 2x speed, you'll make it. Sunday is the walking book club. I'm leading it. It's supposed to be Anna, but Anna is out and just had a baby. So we love you, Anna. We totally miss you. And it's going to be interesting because this is not normally my style of book. So it's going to be a fun one for me to lead. Reminders of Him by Colleen Hoover. Okay. Also, if last week we talked about suspension training in TRX, if you might be interested to learn more about a TRX challenge, please join the waiting list. It's the nextfitnessthing.com/TRX waiting list. Now, I understand that this is a thing. You might be thinking like, where am I going to get the straps to be able to do this? For one, if they have them at your gym and you just want to go to the gym and do it, you could do that. Two, if you want to buy straps and have them, I hooked it up with TRX so that you get 15% off. So I will put this link in the description below so it's easy to click it. I'll also put it in all the places in the newsletter and in the Discord server and all those things. So you can go to this link and get 15% off. And then the other thing that I just want to point out is I know I had a few people ask me, how do I know which straps to get? So I'm just going to take you through this a little bit so that you can see the difference between the choices. Okay, here's the choices. There is a pro system, a home system, and a tactical system. The biggest difference is the pro system, you get extra extender, basically. So in the pro system, you get the door anchor, the suspension anchor, and the extender. So if you're going to hang it up really, really high and you don't want to have to buy an extra extender, I would suggest getting the pro. The only other really big difference, the straps are a little bit thicker and there's a few other nuanced differences, but really the biggest difference is that the pro system has a rubber handle and the foam handle is on the home system. So if you sweat a lot, you probably want the pro system so that you don't have like, I've definitely taught TRX class before with really sweaty people in class and the foam one gets all saturated with sweat and it's disgusting. For me, I've never had a problem with that. I like the foam handle. The only reason to buy the tactical one is because I'm in the video. I mean, don't get me wrong. If that matches your house better and you like the military green one, get it. But it comes with a video and I'm in that video. So that would be maybe the reason to get that one. But I'm going to be in the video of this entire challenge. You don't need to get it for that reason. I would say the home system is completely adequate for what you want. And if you want it to be a little bit fancier, get the pro one. Oh, the other difference is that the pro system has a locking carabiner. So if you were going to like hang it out up in the park and not be attentive to it, you wanted to be able to lock it so that it didn't get stolen, then the pro one's a little bit better. But besides that, not a big deal. If you're not sure how to anchor it, I'm going to go over that. So I will go over that this week in class so that you feel confident in your ability to anchor it. So that said, here are the differences in classes. June starts on Monday. So, oh, P.S. I forgot to make a slide. Goals Walk is Monday. Goals Walk is Monday. Goals Walk is Monday. All right, here are the schedule differences for June. The midday class block, not the early one, but the midday is moving earlier to 8 a.m. Pacific, so it won't be so hot for you guys. Also, we are having TRX Basics on Wednesday and Friday, and I will go through anchoring then. So if you want to know how to hang up the suspension trainer, come to one of those or watch the recording. Make sure you sign up for the TRX challenge. Also, I put the strength classes before walking this month. So you do strength first, walking after. That means that in the morning, early morning 6 a.m. classes, the strength class is longer. The strength class has been only 10 minutes in 6 a.m., and now it's going to be 25 minutes at 6 a.m., followed by a 25-minute walking class. So you have a full hour available to you in the early morning. Also, the evening classes have been extended to 40 minutes. So if you are working out with us in the evening, you get a little bit of bonus time. And I think that's it. All right. Join the Discord server. That's your shout out for that. Okay. That's it for announcements. Eric, we want to know if we want to try your app and try your YouTube channel, what do we do? Tell us all about
Wonderful
it.
question. Totally. So the app is way better than the YouTube channel. It
Of
features
course.
waveform audio tracks. It's uncompressed audio, whereas YouTube compresses all of the audio. So it
Mm,
still works, but the app is significantly more effective. That's what I listen to. Um, the app is Elevate AudioWorks. Thank you, Alexis. You can see it up there. It's Elevate AudioWorks on iOS and Android. Um, if you don't want to look in the app store for it, you can find it on our website, elevateaudioworks.com, right
hmm
there. And then the YouTube channel, if you want to try these tracks for free, because there is a price, we call it our founder's rate on the app. So it's $5 a month or $50 a year. We're doing that because we've spent a lot of money building this thing, and we are trying to break even right now. So we will have a free tier once we hit 2,000 subscriptions. But for now, if you want to try them for free, the YouTube channel is Frequency Tuning. Just youtube.com/at frequency tuning. Um,
which is
and
this.
yeah, yep,
Nice. And awesome.
yeah.
All right. That's great. And will you also shout out your TikTok one more time?
Oh yeah, TikTok is at, elevated Eric. So Eric Erik, elevated Erik.
Cool.
Love some followers on there. That's something I'm trying to start doing again. Outside of just cold plunging, just talking about different consciousness related topics. Uh, just having fun.
Nice.
So,
Awesome. Anything else that you want to say, or I don't know, what else you got?
I don't know. Big shout out to thank you to everybody in our Discord. Thank you to my community that is here. Thank you to my partners that have helped build this entire thing with me. And thank you to you, Alexis, for having me on the show. This has been very fun, and I would love to have you on our new podcast where we talk about normal stuff and weird stuff. Like that's the only way I can describe it. Maybe not
Oh,
weird to
good.
us
I
because you
love weird
you
stuff.
understand it. I like yeah, like astral projection. Yes, like
I
all
love
day we
it.
can talk about that.
And where
Um,
do we find your podcast?
it's on the Frequency Tuning YouTube channel, and
Got it.
the videos are there, and we'll have the audio on the app very soon. If you want to listen to it without commercials, it's on the app. There's no commercials whatsoever on the app. We've kept ads off of it. Uh,
And on the YouTube channel, are there commercials in the videos themselves, or only if you
no,
don't have a
just
YouTube premium subscription,
there's
basically?
just a commercial. There's a video at the beginning and at the end. I'm not going to interrupt anything by having kidding. You're getting into the astral realm, and all of a sudden you get like a. I think I might have cut out there, but I was going to say,
You
can you
did.
imagine if
That's
you're
okay.
meditating and you get out into the astral realm, then all of a sudden you have like a, I don't know, like a any commercial pop up. Like I'd be so frustrated.
What would be worse is if they
Yeah.
integrated it into the meditation
Uh,
experience. That would be so
uh,
bad. That would
have
be
you looked at?
so
Yeah.
bad.
Have you looked at the Lyra star system today? Like some weird, I don't even know, just some
There's like,
goofy,
aren't you craving a Diet Coke right
right? Something more normal like that, or I
now?
don't know.
Yep. Yep. Nope. So love that. Okay. I love everything
Yeah,
that you're doing. And I think it's fascinating and inspiring and really awesome. And thank you for sharing it with us.
yeah,
And we have folks in the chat right now saying, thank you. Very interesting.
thank you.
And it's been really great to have you here.
Well, I
Okay,
appreciate your emphasis.
I would love to talk more not only on your show, but also about integrating these frequencies into workout experiences. I feel like there is a lot
Mhm.
of opportunity there, and it's an exciting idea.
I agree. It's a
Cool.
huge. It's huge. We don't need to be drinking caffeine as much. Granted, I still like caffeine, but supplement it with frequencies.
Cheers.
Yeah. Yeah.
But for your pre-workout, you could totally use some binaural beats
Oh
instead,
yeah.
basically.
Pretty
Yeah,
much.
awesome. All right. You guys, thanks for being here. Happy Friday. And all right, we're out. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you. Oh.